What's up? It's your boy Carcito here. Let's get into it. This is it. This is the trade people been waiting for. Something massive. Now the thing is I expected something with Porzingis being moved to Dallas. And the reason why I knew Porzingis was getting moved to Dallas was the interview yesterday that they did with Luka. Luka had just played against the Knicks. And that's where they were in New York. They were finalizing this deal. They interviewed him and was asking him about Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka were former teammates. They played together overseas. Porzingis was telling everybody that Luka was one of the best players in the draft before he was taken in the draft. And they were bringing these questions up because they knew that a deal was in place to bring Porzingis over to Dallas. And I was saying it to myself, I was like, he would fit in perfect because this is exactly what Mark Cuban wants. His new Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk is on his way out. This is perfect. Now, for all you guys who don't know what happened this morning, about an hour ago, here's what happened. The New York Knicks agreed on a trade that includes Porzingis, Courtney Lee, and Tim Hardaway Jr. for Wesley Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr., and DeAndre Jordan. Now, this is not the final everything. It could be some draft picks put in here. We don't know at that point, but right now, this is where it stands. Now, Dennis Smith Jr. was going to be moved. I told people that earlier this year. They didn't want to believe it and was like, no, they're going to work it out. I said, no, you got to move one. They both play the same. They both want the ball, and it's obvious you don't get rid of Luka. As great as Dennis Smith Jr. was with them, you don't mess with Luka. Luka stays. Luka stays. You don't, that's the one in a lifetime player. You don't mess with Luka. This is a rebirth for the New York Knicks and the best deal the New York Knicks have had in years. Dennis Smith Jr. contract is going to expire soon. You got DeAndre Jordan for the low. You got Wesley Matthews on the team. You got a good team. DeAndre Jordan, that's a guy that's going to give you double-digit rebounds. Dennis Smith Jr. will fit right in for Tim Hardaway Jr. That you've come up better. You got the better junior in this situation. And if you Mark Cuban, all you want is as many people as you can that are European. They're going to help your business. Dirk Nowitzki was perfect for Dallas. That boosted. Let me explain to you guys about Mark Cuban. so that you guys will be in the know as far as what's going on here with Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, before he was popular, before people knew him as Mark Cuban, he was the Jackie Moon of the NBA. He was the youngest owner, and the way he used to sell stuff is do all these sideshow events at the game to try to sell the people to come and see the teams. That's what he used to do. That was his legacy. That's how you knew you were at a Mark Cuban game. It would all be some crazy halftime show or some type of gimmick to sell people into the Mavs losing every year and being a bad team. So here we are again. The Mavs are losing. He needs something to sell. And Lord and behold, they made a trade for Luka. They had Trae Young, and they made a deal to get Luka. Why? Because they wanted Luka to be on their team. Period. And once they got Luka, the great rookie season Dennis Smith Jr. had for Dallas, he was never going to amass the popularity of Luka. Luka was not only popular, Luka was one of the premier players, and he's 19, with popularity, taking over games, winning games. He could score 30-some a night. But not with Dennis Smith Jr. on the court. It was not going to happen. And when he took that last second shot and Luka blew up on him, when Luka had that career hot in the hot hand and Dennis Smith Jr. decided he wanted to shoot the ball at the end, I said, oh yeah, he's really gone now. They were looking to trade him immediately. He was on the trading block. No, we didn't, Adrian Williams. You just got here late. We've already covered that. I told people I knew Porzingis was coming when they interviewed Luka at the end of the game and was asking him about Porzingis. Because Porzingis and him are former teammates overseas when they played together overseas. They're former teammates. And they kept bringing up how Porzingis said how he was great and brought him over, and Luka was laughing and smiling because he knew he was coming over to Dallas. So Luka already knew. And I was saying that yesterday to myself when they were interviewing him. I said, man, if he was on Dallas, that would be perfect. Because Dirk is coming out. Now they knew Dirk Nowitzki. They bring in Porzingis. Dirk's going out. But if you look at the Knicks come up gold in this trade because the Knicks still got cap room and cap space now. You got DeAndre Jordan. You got rid of Courtney Lee. You got Dennis Smith Jr., who's the better of Tim Hardaway Jr. And so you got the better junior. You won. If you the Knicks, you won. If you Dallas, you won. The Knicks got more ability now. They got more physical. They have more cap space now. They can still get almost 2 players in the draft next year. Dennis Smith Jr. has an expiring contract. So he's going to be playing hard for a deal. You won. If you're the Knicks, you won. Well, this is the first exciting trade. People are excited. Porzingis, to me, his career is going to be limited due to injury, due to him being so big. The talent that he has is undeniable. He's an undeniable talent. But he's injury prone. So even though he has a lot of talent and he's injury prone, it's going to stand out a lot. But if you're Mark Cuban, this is what I was telling you about when we were talking about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, this is up his alley. Mark doesn't care about how healthy Porzingis is. The only thing Mark Cuban cares about is the fact that his team photo will include Dirk Nowitzki, Luka Doncic, and Kristaps Porzingis. Now, you put all of them together, you have created a powerhouse. A powerhouse. Of marketing. Euro players from overseas who could put the ball in the basket. Luka is a one-in-a-lifetime great player. He's not a player you get rid of. If it was Dennis Smith Jr. or Luka Doncic, no doubt you keep Luka. Dennis Smith Jr. didn't do anything wrong. He played hard. He played great. It's just that it's time for him to be moved. And the fact that he's a former teammate of Luka Doncic, Porzingis is, those two already know how to play with each other. And those Mavs fans, they're going to come right there pumped up, spending their money to see the Mavs now. This did not make the Mavs a better team. Because you got Tim Hardaway Jr., who's an off and on player, but he's okay with not being a superstar. He's okay with being a complimentary player, where Dennis Smith Jr. isn't. Dennis Smith Jr. knows his worth. He knows he's a better basketball player. He knows he's a better basketball player than anything they could ever put down on paper between him and Tim Hardaway Jr. And this is his second year in the league. where Tim Hardaway Jr. pretty much knows where he fits in as far as the NBA. Now you've gotten rid of all those contracts. If you're the Knicks in the off season, you could pick up a lot of pieces. Courtney Lee, a guy that has come right in and produce. He's not devastating, but he's going to give you what you need at certain nights. It's all right, long as it's all white. Dallas Mavericks are showing that color means something. But not only color with talent. I think both sides got what they want. I think it was both an exceptional trade-off. And I think this is going to work out great for both teams, depending on what they want. The Knicks will be able to vie for a title before Dallas. I guarantee you that. Dallas Mavericks will not be vying for a championship. They'll make the playoffs. But I think the Knicks will make the playoffs. Because next year, the Miami Heat will be out of the playoffs. Oh, no. This is going to lead to an NBA strike. See, the NBA right now is exactly the reason why Mark Cuban doesn't really care about any of this stuff. He's a marketing guy. That's how he bought the team. He's a sideshow freak. He wants to be a star. That's why he's got the show, the Shark Tank. Mark wants to be a star. That's why he sits on the sidelines. What other owner sits on the sideline? Mark Cuban wants to be a star. Now, DeAndre Jordan isn't the same DeAndre Jordan he was with the Clippers. But he can give you a double-double. Everything about him is throwback Knicks basketball. That's turning it back in the right direction. You got Dennis Smith Jr., who's going to fit in right good with Knox. Now, that guy Frank Ntilia, that they drafted that year and shocked everybody, he's a bust. You got to get rid of Frank. I'm sorry, he's a young kid. Frank, you got to go. You know, the G League is calling. And that's what this trade solidifies. He's out. I will give credit to one thing. No matter how many times people don't get my notifications, Lewis seems to always find my videos. I'm like, how does Lewis and Jerty will even find a video of mine? I'm over here like a chemist, making my Yava blast. Now, the situation always changes when the platform changes. And the platform keeps changing because you're dealing with characters who are involved, who know their position. This is probably the most even trade I have seen in a very long time. This trade is so even, I'm like, wow, you can't go wrong. I heard that Blake Griffin wants a trade. He's not happy. Detroit might move him. I don't know. But they need to try to move Drummond. If they can move Drummond, Drummond will get you 20 points, give you about 12 and 20. But he's lazy. He's a sometime player. Got to get rid of him. His defense has always been the same. He plays it sometimes. And he's digressed all over the years. Time to move him out. Oh, well, the Reggie Jackson contract is ludicrous. That's why they're stuck. They've been trying to move Reggie Jackson every year. But then Reggie Jackson would get hurt, and then they'll be stuck with him. Can't move the guy. It's a great trade for the Knicks. The Knicks really won in this deal. The Mavs won too because they got what they want. They got Luka Doncic. They got Porzingis on the same team. That's all they really were looking for. They got rid of Dennis Smith Jr. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. in, somebody who knows to get the ball to Luka, and they're gonna be just fine. If you're Boston, the stupidest thing you could do is get rid of Kyrie Irving. If people believe Jason Tatum and what's his name, the crazy Terry Rozier and all these guys, the Knicks are, Boston's going to be rolling and doing all these things without Kyrie. Well, you got another thing coming. Oh no, he's nothing like Antonio McDyess. Antonio McDyess is a very underrated player and had to change his game immediately because he blew his knees out. And still was significant. And LeBron James wouldn't have been in the finals at all had they not thrown McDyess out of the game. Well, you're right about that. Knicks trade is dumb. How would you? What's dumb about getting DeAndre Jordan, Dennis Smith Jr.? Period. Right there, you already have improved your team with two players. Wesley Johnson, whatever, you could bring him over there. He don't even care what he does. He'd be like, look, Wesley, do whatever the word you want. We didn't got rid of Porzingis. We didn't got we are rolling. Right, you got them expiring contracts. The Knicks is rolling. Dennis Smith Jr. can play, ladies and gentlemen. It's like once they got Luka, that was going to be a conflict of interest. They cannot play together. I told people that was going to happen. Luka has to have the ball. He has to be at the top of the key distributing. If that's going to hurt the game of Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. likes to have the ball at the top so he can work. Then you bring in another guy who plays the same way, it's going to be a problem. And they would make it Dennis Smith Jr. change his game for Luka. But Luka is a closer. That's somebody you give that ball to and get the hell out the way. Luka's a baller. You let him go. I knew if Dennis Smith Jr. didn't get that ball to Porzingis, I knew he was out. I told you. He was gone. That was his last. They had a blow up in the locker room. Them two were arguing about him taking that last second shot, and they were getting rid of him. Now DeAndre Jordan is on the Knicks. He could give you double-digit rebounds. Oh no, Luka's proven. Believe me, Luka is proven. That's why they've gotten rid of everybody and said, Luka, here the keys. Lock up when you finished. It's Luka's team. Don't ever think the Mavs are anybody else's team but Luka. That is Luka's team, and they're building around him. Porzingis and Luka played overseas on the same team. He's been knowing him his whole life. The interview yesterday when they played the Knicks last night should have told you Porzingis was coming over to Dallas. They interviewed Luka and they asked him about it yesterday after they played. It was his first time playing in the Garden. So they asked him about what had happened, and like playing with Porzingis and how Porzingis said that he was going to be the best player. And he just smiled because he knew he was coming over to the Mavs. I was like, man, that would be something if Porzingis went over to Dallas. And sure enough, the next morning, he's traded. And I said, yep, Luka knew. That interview gave it away. He was smiling because he knew Porzingis was coming over. Now Dirk is on his way out. You got your new Dirk Nowitzki when Porzingis, and now you got Luka. Do you know what Luka and Porzingis did overseas? They were tearing stuff up over there. Now this is the NBA. Kevin Love don't have step back jump shots like that. Kevin Love ain't finna hit you with the step back three. That's Mr. Step Back. Luka, that's his whole game is step back. Luka's the step back master. Step back, splash. Step back, splash. And Luka was the guy. And Luka's only 19 years old. He's 19. Do I need to point that out to you? He looked like he about 25, 26 years old. But Luka is only like 19 years of age. You don't get rid of him. Oh, yeah, that's right. Anybody here that want to donate to the page, all you got to do is go to the Cash App, hit Carcino up, add Carcino on Cash App, or you could click the link in the description box. Luka was embarrassing grown men who were 30 years old since he was 15 years of age. 15 years old, he was playing against grown men and destroying them overseas. Harrison Barnes is still with Dallas. So you looking at, you got Wesley, you got Tim, no, you got, who did they pick up? Courtney Lee, Porzingis, and you got Tim Hardaway Jr. So you got Harrison Barnes still on the team. You got guys who know their role. No, you don't. You need a bunch of guys that can just get out of the way and let Porzingis and Luka do their thing. Now, Dallas is going to lose a lot of games. And Harrison Barnes is going to be a guy that averages about 15 points a game. He could easily average over 20. But the reason why he's going to average 15 is because his rhythm is off. He's going to have to adjust to the fact that these guys are ball dominant. Porzingis and Luka are ball dominant. They love to move the ball, but they're going to be playing a very fluent game, more Euro, where everything's going to be at the top of the key. So your big man is going to be at the top of the key. Courtney Lee's going to have to be in the paint battling for rebounds. It's going to be a weird game. Well, we'll see. We'll all find out. A lot of people feel that way, but no, they won't beat the Warriors. Mark Cuban don't care about that. He already got his NBA championship. All Mark Cuban cares about is selling tickets. Cuban wants to be the star of the team. When they won the championship, the star of the team was not Dirk Nowitzki, it was Mark Cuban. Cuban's posing with the trophy. He's sitting out there with the team like he's on the team. He tried to play Tony Romo in an NBA basketball game. He's a sideshow freak. He's the Jackie Moon of the NBA. All the other owners know it. That's what Mark does. Before the Mavs were successful in winning games and able to vie for a championship, he was putting on sideshow events. That's how he made it. He would have these crazy halftime shows so that people would be on there. He sits down there. He's the only owner in the NBA in which he gets this much press and time on the camera. He makes sure he's sitting down with the team. No other NBA owner you really even see at the game or nothing. He wants to be seen. He wants to be on television. He's on Shark Tank. He's on all these different programs. What's up, Trick and Cheese? Yeah, you heard me bumping that Dez on the other video. Yeah, I downloaded the album. It's on. Once it was on Apple, I'm like, oh, bet we got it. Dwight Howard to the big three. All the players don't want the owner. All on the court. Smiling. Dancing. Come to the Knicks. Well, Dwight Howard, you know, he can host the Young Buck mixtape. That's what Buck need to do. Buck need to embrace it and be like, you know what? My new mixtape coming out. It's called Trannies. My new mixtape Tranny is coming out this week. I got it hosted by Dwight Howard. I got this new song with Bobby V. It's gonna be sick. He would sell off the shelf. That would sell off the shelf. I would listen to that in a heartbeat. Young Buck got a CD out called Tranny. It's a new mixtape hosted by the White House, featuring Bobby V. Yep, scratches and cuts by Mr. C. Well, when you look at Luka and you look at what they're getting, the Knicks won the trade overall. The Knicks got expiring contracts coming on their team. So you don't have to worry about it. Their contracts are expiring. So that's a step in the right direction times 10. But you got the perfect guy on your team. Dennis Smith Jr. is proven already what he could do. The Knicks could possibly make a run for the playoff, the eighth spot, with the lineup they got. With DeAndre Jordan, Dennis Smith Jr., you got Knox who could play. That Frank Natilia guy, Frank, thank you for your services. The G League is calling. Frank is not built for this. Frank is not going to make it. Now, the Knicks fans, they love Enes Kanter. I can't tell you why. I don't know why, but they love Enes Kanter. Kanter is a bum. He has a lot of heart and everything else, but he's a bum. He can't go back to Turkey. He might as well, whatever he doing here, he better stay here for the rest of his life. If he ever goes to Turkey, oh my gosh. Buddy. Buddy boy. Don't you ever go to Turkey. They want you back over there. That man talked about the president of Turkey. Shoot, they were like, he's a traitor. Give him to us. Bring him here. Next year, the Knicks are in. They can have a big free agent. They have a lot of money. They can get supermax contracts. They can do anything they want. Now, the Dallas Mavericks, they got what they want. They wanted a performance with the players, the Euro players that they got. Mark Cuban had great success with Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk could play, and he was Euro. The win-win. Luka, Euro, he could play. Win-win. Christian Porzingis, teammate of Luka's. That's all he care about. Anything else, we gonna be over 500? Perfect. But Luka want to win. Let me explain that to you. Luka Doncic wants to win. Period. That's what he wants to do. He hates to lose. It's all over his face. Even when they lose a game by like 1 or 2, they're in contention of these games. Dallas is not that far off, to be actually truthfully. But now that they made this trade, they've opened the team up more to Luka. Tim Hardaway Jr. knows his role. Get the ball to Luka. Now, Kevin Durant goes to the Knicks. They got Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan on the team. They have a pretty good chance. You got Kevin Knox. Yes, Frank was a bad draft pick. They drafted the wrong guy. The thing was they were supposed to draft Dennis Smith Jr. See, this is what's so funny about the trade. That Dennis Smith Jr. was supposed to be drafted by the New York Knicks, and they chose Frank. You remember that? They drafted Frank Natilia. Everybody was, what? We wanted Dennis Smith Jr. The Knicks wanted Dennis Smith Jr. And he was supposed to be a New York Knick. So now they've corrected everything in 1 year. 1 year. They got Dennis Smith Jr. now. Where he originally, the fans wanted him to be. In New York. Now, Frank is going to be, that's what I say, Frank better get ready for that G League. And then they got the other guy. He's a baller. And people in New York like him. I forgot his name, but he's a baller for the Knicks. That guy's a baller, but they looking to trade him. The Knicks are looking to trade him, though. He's a baller. He's a guy that comes in and will light it up. I'm like, he more than Frank Knox. This dude, Kevin Knox, this dude can go. He come off the bench. He got that crazy hairstyle with them cuts in it. Dude come in and just start lighting it up. Trey Burke. Everybody wants Trey Burke. Burke! Trey Burke is a gunner. A lot of teams want him because he got it. He could beat the whole team on one night. When he got it going, you can't stop him. Now, a lot of teams want his energy. They're like, we need him on our team. Yeah, the Pistons do need him. The Pistons were doing well, but the injury to Ish messed them up because they didn't have a backup point guard, and it screwed up the team. The wheels fell off. Oh, Dallas got Trey too? Oh, I didn't see that. If they got Trey, oh man, now the deal then just got even sweeter. But I don't know how Trey Burke, if he's in the Dallas trade, I don't know how Trey gonna play with Luka. That don't make no sense. I wouldn't have gotten him. That dude and him that's even worse than Dennis Smith Jr. They really ain't finna come in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't forget. Donate to the page at the Cash App. I'm at Carcino if you got the Cash App. Or you can click the link in the description box and leave me a message. Oh, we all with it. On this level, everybody around here with it. Everybody right there. Everybody start. Everybody know I'm with it. Everybody around me with it. The Knicks next year will lose Jordan. They'll probably pick up another big guy, but if they get Kevin Durant or if Kevin Durant comes to the Knicks is in business. They're going to have a good second half of the year. But any which way it go, I'm interested to seeing how it plays out. Anyway, thanks for coming to the page. I hope y'all sub. I hope this ain't the one time y'all stopped by.